Okay. So walk me through the your story. When did you first start following, not just running, but when did you start like watching Wind Waker runs?
Yeah, sure. I feel like this is a pretty like interesting one. I like never watched it at all before, like at all, which is I feel like it's pretty random. Like most of these people that you're probably going to talk to have been around for like forever. Either been watching or running since like the run was like 5 hours, 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember like the exact time. I just remember I like messing around with speedrunning. I sucked at other games I was trying to get into, and I was like, I know I love Wind Waker. Why not? So then I tried Wind Waker, and it just happened to be like I don't know how familiar like with actor and loading barrier skip you are. I don't know how like how deep you've gone into that. They just happened to have found that like immediately once I joined the Discord, and I was like, well, that's cool. But back then it was a lot more dumb. Where like I don't know if you've seen like the runs that Gymnast first did, where you pull the grapple like 700 times.
I'm sort of aware, yeah.
Super unoptimal, and I was like, geez, that is super. Like that was like my first introduction to Wind Waker speedruns, is watching Gymnast pull the grapple for like 1,000 times at Dragon Roost, and then like pray to God that everything worked.
Yeah, I haven't delved too much into it. I know I know the general concept behind it, but I haven't watched too many runs from that particular era. So, but that was like the new hotness, right? They're like, we finally did it. We can finally get past barrier by doing this really stupid random trick where we have to spawn in 1,000 arrows that don't unload until we fill up the actor list, and it literally can't load in the barrier. You know?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Like this Discord, like the Wind Waker one, isn't like the most active, but like there's definitely some like diehard people, and like there's always there to like help you if you need it. But back then it was like popping, like it was just found. Everyone was there. It was crazy, and it was like a mad dash to like find a better setup, because obviously the first one was like so like unoptimized and annoying.
So then, did you try to learn that route at all?
I personally learned like the I guess like the quote unquote like optimal version. It took me a long time of learning because the game is so like difficult, I guess. Like usually most people like nowadays there's like a lot of new beginners picking up the no MSS run. But back then that like that wasn't a leaderboard category, and two, I don't know, I just decided to just go for it, and that on its own took me like months just to get used to, which is annoying. So by the time that I caught up to like being able to do a run, it was already pretty optimal, to the point where all you had to do was like pull 70 grapples at Forest Haven and then make sure you swim through a specific path, and then it'll work. Yeah, so by the time I learned, it was the optimal route, like to where it is now. If you wanted to run AU actor unloading, you would do that route.
Okay. All right. So how does that actor unloading, like the time in the Discord when things are popping, right? How does that compare to whenever the bomb push method is found?
Oh yeah. So yeah, that was like, I want to say that I don't remember. Do you know like the exact date? Actually, I guess. Let me see. Like, I feel like the year. I know that the bomb push was like 2019. I don't remember if the actor unloading was the same year. It might have been, but like a couple months earlier.
I have a video by Bowser's board from January 30th, 2020, from when the bomb push stuff is found.
Okay, so I think the actor link was like 2019, and then the bomb push was like very early 20s. Okay, so yeah, I think if I like remember correctly, it wasn't like as crazy, because like, you know, finding barrier skip, like, you know, that's insane, like just finding it in general. But definitely like a bunch of runners came back and like was like, wow, that's a lot more, you know, doable and manageable. You know, all you have to do is just drop, like, the setup is still pretty precise, but like it's completely in your control now. Like with the actor unloading, you could do it perfectly and it still could just like not work, just because, you know, it's dumb. And like maybe like small things such as like footprints on the ground when you're wet coming out of the water, that like even stuff as small as that could mess it up, and you would never know when you get there. So it was super annoying. So a lot of times you'd get there and actor unloading and it's like, wow, it didn't work. Or like, even if it like does look like it works, you'd have to reload the room over and over again until the barrier is gone. And that could have taken 1 try, could have taken 10 tries, like who knows. But yeah, it was definitely, I think it was maybe not as popping, but it was more like, wow, I can't believe, like, and not that it wasn't like that it's simple, but like it like the bomb push looks simple, but it's like complicated. But like, wow, the solution was always that. and we never knew. Because I'm pretty sure that if like you go back and look, Trog tried that, but the script he ran was like 0.2 speed less than what it needed to be, so it didn't work. And that was like 3 years earlier or something. So like if he tried it with like a little bit more speed, it would have been found like years earlier.
Yeah. I was talking to Bowser about that. So it was like it's just because it's so precise, right?
Yeah, so you need the right position, you need the right angle, and you need the right animation frame. Like those 3 things need to be perfect for it to even work. Because like apparently like when Link pulls a bomb, he goes through this animation cycle, and like you need a specific frame of that cycle in combination with the perfect position and the perfect angle. So it's like, wow,
it's so crazy. I said, leave it to Zelda runners. Yeah,
that's crazy. I don't even know how Bowser found that. Like, that's still crazy. I guess. Well, like the script makes it a lot easier, but it's just like it's crazy, like how precise it has to be.
Absolutely. So, what's the timing difference? I'm kind of like totally in the dark on this kind of stuff. So
yeah, like compared to like AU
actor unloading. Yeah,
I want to say here. I want to say I know that they brought it down. I feel like it's maybe like 5 to 7 minutes optimally, because I want to see what like the fastest one was. I think it had to have been Demon. They probably did it, and I want to say it was definitely sub 110 at that point still. Let's see if I can find it really fast. But yeah, it definitely wasn't. It's like it wasn't more so that it was. I guess it was kind of slower because you have to get grappled, but definitely more of the RNG is what ate up a little bit more time. Because you kind of had to pray for a first try, and that wasn't really in your control.
Yeah, but let's just, if you had to ballpark it, like optimal actor unloading versus optimal bomb push, like which one's faster?
Optimal bomb push, at least with no PG skip, is easily like 59. Like the God run 58. Like Demon's gotten a sub 1. He's the only one who's gotten a sub 1 with the bomb push, no PG skip. And then like if I were to say optimal, here I think I found one real quick. Okay, yeah. Well, let's see. He got a 109 with actor unloading. So that's like a 10-minute difference. I'm not sure if that's the fastest one he has.
Okay, I just wanted a general idea because like I said, I'm in the dark on this. So
so it's not crazy.
Okay. So, what are you wanted to talk about what it's like being a quote unquote Zoomer runner, community member. So how has it been? Like what's your experience been as someone who's joined right in like the cusp of like, oh, barrier skip's been found. Like you're living in a post barrier skip world. What is that like?
Yeah, I feel like initially it was amazing because like everybody was there. I'm not trying to like paint it as if like no one's like ever around. Like people are like there's definitely like now there's like tons of people that are happy to help you and they're always there. It's just like it's more of a niche community now because the run is the game is so difficult optimally and like so off-putting to beginners, whether it be like MSS or like zombie hovering. It's just difficult, and I understand that. It's just not as active as it used to be. But it definitely was like just interesting that it's just like a slow decline. Like and then like because of that, because like I feel like all of like some more of like the OG runners like kind of like moved on. It was like kind of hard resources wise to learn everything. But definitely still doable if like you put in the time. But like I think that's one of the biggest things that was like difficult about new people coming is there's not that many like super like tailored resources. Now there are like Trog's made some pretty good beginner ones. I've made some tried to make some good beginner ones, but like learning is definitely a difficult thing to do in this game. So like nowadays it's just us trying to make sure that it's as accessible as possible. And like that can be kind of difficult when, like everyone can't be there all the time. So it's just like trying to make sure we can help as much as we can.
I get you.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of it's the harder the tricks are, the harder it is to get new runners. That's sort of
like
the inevitable death of a speed game is that it's so optimal, so hard that only the top level people want to do it, and then it's like
that's not even getting into like PG skip too. That's a whole nother like god awful part. Well, like it's fun, but it's annoying. But yeah, like we get like a lot like the main thing that happens like someone will come into like okay, I want to learn this game, and they're like, okay, that's cool. Like we love new people, but like they like learn about MSS, and they're like, oh god, like and then like it usually ends there, which is super nice that we have like the no MSS category now. We're starting to get some like new people do some runs, but still, it's very like zombie hovering is pretty dumb. If like it takes a while to like get used to, but once you get used to it, it's pretty chill.
Gotcha. MSS is Master Sword Skip.
Oh, yeah, that manual super swim.
Manual super swim.
You ever see like the beginning where they pause a million times?
Yeah. Okay.
It's pretty annoying because you have to do perfect like frame perfect pauses, and if you do an early pause and it eats your input, you can lose like 50 to 100 speed just like in a flash, and it's just like, wow, what was the point of the last 3 minutes, you know? And there is a way to do it unbuffered, where you just flick the stick as hard as you can, but only like 2 people can do it optimally. I can barely do it.
Jesus.
But like the first and second place runners, they can like for like a comparison, optimal pause buffering is 10 minutes 30 seconds Wind Waker time. Unbuffered is like 7:45. Like you save a lot of time.
Yeah.
If you're just like if you have like the gains in your arm, you can just like flick really like you can flick really hard and like you're buff. I don't know.
That's nuts. I don't know. I can't imagine people do that like unbuffered. That's the strat.
Yeah, I try, but like it's so hard. It is so difficult.
Yeah. So tell me, you had mentioned Puppet Ganon skip, right?
Yes.
Did you skip?
Yeah, that is a trick that can be implemented. It saves like 5 to 6 minutes. So like, you know that Demon's optimal bomb push was about like 59 minutes, 40-ish seconds. The world record's like 53 minutes. That's like the difference of PG skip. It saves that much time. But it's ridiculously... Well, I wouldn't say... It's super difficult to learn, and it's super annoying. The smallest mistake, and it's just run dead. So it's really off-putting and annoying, but like it's not an insanely impossible trick. It's completely in your control. There's no RNG. If you do everything right, it's fine. It's just like... It's like a YOLO. You get it, you save 6, because you if you skip PG, you don't have to get light arrows, so you can also skip quiver. So all those things combined, you can save like 4 to 6 minutes depending on how good you are at mashing. You skip the fight, you just hover to the top, and like you have to do a chain of like bomb drops to like change your angle. It's like super weird if like you watch a video, and then you just like for some reason there's one fairy pot at the top level of the PG room that you can blast yourself into and land on a ferry. And then, yeah. Okay.
So it's different than like the HD one, right?
Oh, so the HD one is where they shoot the Morph, right? Are you familiar with that?
I actually don't know, because I always thought they shot the pot and then the fairies had to like fly upwards.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's also that's an old thing. So back in the day, yeah, like in HD, you'd shoot the fairy. It's called like fairy hover, I guess.
Yeah.
You shoot the pot. You put the pot below like the ledge. You'd shoot it and pray to God that the fairy would go into you. But it was like it was like a crazy like less than 10% chance that even worked.
Yeah.
So there's better ways now. So like now, the main thing you want to do is just get to the top of the room. But it's not possible if you don't have. Well, you can get to the top if you have grapple, and you beat PG pretty easily. And then you just do. There's a new way to like use like there's little enemies up there called morphs, and there's a way to manipulate them to get hearts so that you can get a heart up there, and then you can just zombie hover into that instead of the fairy.
Okay.
But yeah, basically optimally, you always usually skip grapple. So like, well, I guess HD gets grapple, but that's different. But like, there's 2 methods to do PG skip. One is like. If you can shoot the morph through the platform below and hit it with the fire arrow, and it can go into the pot and burn the lid, so you can use the fairy pot or you can use the warp pot, and that skips the fight. However, it's like a 38% chance, and at least I guess in both games, you need to get out of bounds of the room, and that's only really optimally doable in HD. So that's not a thing in any percent.
Okay.
You can't get out of bounds in the room. You can in like other categories. So like. The current method is to zombie hover all the way to the top, do some fancy movement, get to the fairy pot, and live off of that, and then you do morph hover again.
Okay. And that's the current, right? The current route with any percent, which is
complete optimal. You skip the sail, you skip the quiver, you do PG skip. It's pretty intense. Like if you watch like the world record, it's like insane how fast they do it.
Mm-hmm. It's nuts, bro. Where do you see the run going any further from here? Like any other tricks on the horizon that could potentially be implemented?
Tricks? Well, okay, actually this is like not for this route, but pretty funnily enough, there was a new like, okay, so if you don't do PG skip, you do the Morth hover shot. I mean the fire arrow shot, because you can get on like the level below it, so you can hit the Morth. You don't have to go out of bounds.
Mm-hmm.
And usually like you'd have to pray to God it's RNG, like it works. And there is a backup where you can hover up, suicide, drop a bomb, and blow it up, but then you have to come back because you die, but then the pot's open. But literally like 2 days ago, I was watching someone's stream for like they first time did this, like they're doing the route. And there's a fairy pot up there too, but it was always assumed that if you land on it, because if you land on it and you get hit by a fairy, but it has to like fully revive you before like you come back to life, so you'd still just die on the ground because you die frame 1.
Mm-hmm.
And it was found out that like at least when you go through the room normally, there's a cutscene that plays when you break the pot, and it just lasts perfectly long enough to where the fairy revives you.
Wow,
and that works. And he did that on accident. Like I was just watching. And like he did it completely on accident. If I wasn't watching, I don't know if he would have told anyone. And like he didn't even know what happened. It was just like, oh my god, and everybody's like, wow, a complete accident just happened. But like regarding this, like the optimal route, I don't think so. I can like optimally it can go down like maybe like a minute, but like I don't know if anybody's like mentally and physically ready to even do that. I know Aloha. He's the second place runner. He's doing some attempts, and he's like world record like contention every day he runs. But he's pretty much it. Like I'm the only other the active runner that does the optimal route, and I'm not even close to them. Like they're in completely different leagues.
Mm.
And Iwabi, the world record holder, doesn't like. I don't blame him. He doesn't seem interested in coming back unless someone beats his record.
Yeah, the more I hear about it, the more I'm like, man, this run sounds brutal. You know?
Yeah, like, the more optimal it gets, the more brutal it gets. Like you cannot like mistakes in this game. The mistakes you make cost minutes, and like they happen within frames of like input time.
That's a good way to say it. It's probably gonna find its way into the video.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Foreshadowing.
Spoilers.
There you go. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
I don't think so. I'm not. It's hard for me to remember everything. It's a lot easier. Like thank you for asking like pretty like easy questions. It's like once I have a question, it's like super easy to answer. But like on my own, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's just the general nature of interviews. Although I will say there are there's like two main types of interviewees, and one who are like, oh yeah, ask me anything. I'm a wealth of knowledge. Like just ask me something and I'll talk.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's other people who are like, I have a lot to say, so shut up and listen. Right. Or I'm like, tell me the entire story. And like, oh, it was a sunny day. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm sit back.
I'm definitely the first, especially since I am like a Wind Waker zoomer. I don't have that wealth of knowledge. Just someone like I don't know, like Woofers, UFG. He's like been around. He's like probably like an encyclopedia of like Wind Waker. Yeah. He probably knows all that stuff if you talk to him already.
Yeah, we did a short. Oh, I say short. We did a call with him just to sort of like get a baseline of like where we're going with this, and he was just like talk. So,
but yeah, I think the big things that I like to like look at is like it started with AU, like actor unloading. Mm-hmm. It was like slowly optimized because like it was really stupid at the beginning. It became pretty fine tuned to like optimal RTA viable setup. Went to bomb push, and then after bomb push, it was like, okay, I think it was, I want to say if it was Aloha or Wabi, or maybe Ian. I think maybe Ian was the first PG skip one, but it was like, okay, let's see who's crazy enough to implement PG skip. And that's kind of where we stand now. That's like the timeline of like optimizations.
Okay. That's a good way to put it.
Okay. Oh, I guess real quick in there too is sail skip. That's the thing. But that could go either like you can do PG or not and still skip the sail. Okay. I guess it's a small thing I can add. Yeah. Usually, I don't know how like so like in the route, you get bombs early by doing Great Fish cutscene skip.
Mm-hmm.
And then the outcome of doing that is you end up on coral, like a good distance away from Windfall Island. Like you're in that quadrant, but like you can't swim to there. You have to like get there somehow. And usually you sail. Like, cause you get the sail and then you just sail over there. But you can skip the sail and save anywhere from, like, depending on what the route you're doing, anywhere from like 30 seconds to like even like a minute. I don't know. I'm not like too crazy like accurate on that time. And you do another unbuffered manual super swim towards the island, and you can do that and save time. That's another optimization that happened. That was like put in, I think, some point where people were also putting in PG skip.
Nuts.
So there's two.
Another manual super swim.
Yeah, and it only saves time if you do an unbuffered. Like you have to do an unbuffered. If you pause buffer it, it won't even, like, you'll lose minutes if you pause buffer it.
Oh Jesus!
So you got to flick to win. It's pretty much the story of Wind Waker right now. Like optimally, if you like, unbuffered is such a huge advantage.
Okay, real quick, does anybody use a hand cam with unbuffered super swim?
So, Iwabi has a video of him doing it, like a tutorial.
Mm.
And then Aloha, the way he holds it, he actually does, like, you can see it during a run, him doing it.
Okay.
Interesting enough, they do it completely different ways. Like Iwabi like has a thing where like he has his hand like just open, and he puts his like the stick between his fingers and flicks up and down really fast. And then Aloha does a thing where like he holds it towards his head, like near his like head, like his chin, and then like makes like a kind of like a pincher with his like thumb and index finger, and like uses that to like flick it up and down, or like I guess side to side, because he holds the controller differently.
Okay.
But I can link those videos if you want, but they're not too difficult to find. But I can link them.
Yeah, I think I'd like that, because I think I'd like to have a visual to show when it's like, and this is what unbuffered super swim looks like, and they're just like,
yeah, pretty much, yeah. That sounds pretty good, actually. That was pretty like, that sounded like consistent enough to do it. You might be able to do it.
There you go. I'm a legend.
Where do you
palm? You can just DM it to me. That'd be fine.
Yeah. So that's Aloha. I mean, that's Iwabi. And then Aloha. I'll just look at his world record. And this is Aloha. Just like if you go to the beginning of the run, you'll see him doing it. And they do it. Let me see, make sure that he does it the same way still. Yeah, he does it the same way that he used to. So yeah, that's how they do it individually. And I personally do it more like Iwabi, but I am nowhere near as good at it as he is. Because if you hit neutral once,
I'm watching him. Oh my gosh!
If you hit neutral once, like you lose an incredible amount of speed. Like you can't hit neutral.
Iwabi do it. That's so busted.
Yeah, hitting neutral is pretty much, at least the thing about them though is they're so good at it. They can like mess up in the beginning and still get an insanely good time. But like if you're anywhere worse than them, hitting neutral is pretty much instant reset. If you go for this, I think you're going for a crazy good time. Like it's just incredible. He doesn't hit neutral like barely once the entire time. This entire like time he's flicking, like just perfectly.
Oh, yeah, I'm watching. That's crazy. Okay. Alrighty. I think that's gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, that was
gonna be good.
I think I got everything I wanted to say.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and end this recording. So, but thanks for talking to me, man.